financial channel.
Que bueno.
Yeah. Great to have you along today. Sully, Costa, Day Trader Quattro, right there. Have you seen the market today? You ever hear me say my screen is bleeding?
No.
Have you ever heard me say that?
I don't like it.
But I know what it means.
That means when all the stocks I'm following
Or just
and big companies, I mean, like the big guys of the world, screen's bleeding. This all comes down to, global insecurity with what's going on. But man, my screen is bleeding today. It's a frightening day on Wall Street. Because Dow Jones currently, NASDAQ, S&P, all, we're dipping in. Well, Dow Jones dropped 600 points at one point today. Everything's down between 2 and 2.5%. And this is an example of buy on the market, or buy on the rumor, sell on the news. And market takes in bad news well ahead of time. We're getting earnings numbers in, so part of this is fundamental. Earnings aren't coming in as anticipated. And then you've got sort of the mess that's going on in Ukraine with the president visiting Ukraine for a questionable reason, but just as China has a delegation going to Russia at the same time. So that makes people a little bit nervous in the markets. And as a result of that, investors came back from the holiday in a foul mood in the major markets today. So, but there's also a thing on Wall Street called the dead cat bounce. Have you heard of a dead cat bounce?
I have not.
Here's the theory, okay, before PETA starts emailing me. It is a real Wall Street term. It's been around for decades.
okay.
And it means after a precipitous fall in the stock market. Well, here, let me cut to the chase first. Even a dead cat will bounce if dropped from a high enough building. Okay? Got it? So in the market, when you've got a precipitous drop, it's usually followed by a bounce.
Gotcha.
And they call it a dead cat bounce. And so, days like this, 2% is not really a precipitous fall based on what we've seen in the market over the last well over a year now.
Okay.
But recall, we had a bear market that lasted for 14 years almost. I mean, we were, again, there's a graph that I put together called Perspective that shows you where we were in the 6,500s on the Dow when we were capitulating during the Great Recession of 2008, 2009. Now, if you consider the Dow Jones, as of today, let me look, just give you an accurate number here, is what, still 33,000, 34,000?
Yeah.
As I want to be accurate, ish. Don't you wish you stayed in at the point of your complete capitulation when you throw your hands up or losing all the money? There's a called Perspective. I put that chart together a while back. On to better news. His name is Philip Oldridge. He is the CEO of Envirotech Vehicles. You can go to evtvusa.com. I like Phil Oldridge so much that I talk to him off the air. More often than I talk to him on the air, and I can't wait for him to come into San Diego when he's not traveling. He just got back from the Philippines. I give you Phil Oldridge. Phil, how are you, sir? Great to talk to you.
I'm great. Thank you so much. How are you guys?
Hey,
Good.
tell us about your Philippines trip. Because a lot of people know who you are from being on the program, and there's some people that are seeing you for the first time. I'm going to give you a chance to explain what Envirotech does here in a minute, but I want to hear about your Philippines deal in the first place, because Envirotech is a provider of purpose-built zero-emission EVs in the commercial market, really a last-mile fleet of buses and school buses and public and private transportation and so on and so forth. Talk about the Philippines here for a minute. You had an exciting trip.
Yeah, it was really, really great, and thanks for asking. So got invited back to the Philippines primarily because we're going to start some manufacturing over there, and we got invited back by the various levels of government up in the higher end of it. And so we have tentatively signed an agreement to open up a manufacturing facility there, which will be based on actually on a former U.S. Air Force base. I can't tell you which one yet because we're under a strict NDA at this time. But with the U.S. opening up 5 new military bases in the Philippines, you can imagine what they're going to require for electric vehicles, trucks, logistics, and things like that, and us being a U.S. manufacturer. So us being based there, and of course, between the two of them being Philippines being a sovereign nation, we're well poised to do very well. And of course, the domestic market of 110 million people doesn't help either. So, it can't hurt.
But Philip, of course, is the CEO of a publicly traded company. And you can only say so much, but you have to extrapolate the fact that if you are building factories in another country, regardless where they're at, there's got to be high demand there, and that's exciting because it turns you into further turns the story internationally as it has been from the very beginning, and that's really exciting. I want to talk about the latest and the greatest because every time you're on the air here, we get to see the latest sort of vehicles that help all those groups address challenges for the traditional fuel costs, instability, and local, state, and environmental regulatory compliance. Talk about what we're looking at here, Phil.
Yeah, so that is our latest vehicle. For those people that are seeing it today, the general public hasn't seen it yet. The actual real unveiling is next week, but that's known as the EVT Zipper. And if you take a very close look at it, it's a specialized vehicle that we built. It has a little dump box on the back. It has a refrigerated box. It has a parcel delivery box. But most importantly, as you know, we build in both right-hand and left-hand drive, and we have demand in the EU now for in both markets. So we designed that vehicle in such a way that it's a single seat centered position. So that vehicle, without any changes, can service both right and left-hand drive vehicles. I don't know if they gave you a picture of the one with the steering wheel in the center, but
there it is. Oh no, not yet. Well, right, we're going to need a steering wheel in the center for Mike because if he goes to one left side, I think he's going to tip over. So let's get the weight balance there a little bit. By the way, can we get one of those? Can we get one of those for the studio here, just to deliver pizza from the front door to the back door? Because that is a cool vehicle. I think we need to have one on display here. Fantastic stuff.
Exactly right. We delivered our first 3 to Europe, and they have a mobile. If you could imagine that. We just got some pictures back. I wish I had them to share with you, but they put a mobile espresso bar in one, and the guy's running around with that. So, yeah, super exciting. So we're very, very excited about that, especially in cities and high congested areas. And as you can imagine, as you know, I was recently in Mexico. Mexico is very excited about this vehicle, especially in Mexico City. And, of course, the Philippines and those types of areas where they have high congestion and stuff. So yeah, we're very excited about this vehicle.
Philip, as far as the charging of these vehicles, are they, is it a universal, I guess, universal input port for these to be charged? They can go anywhere if someone has one and you can charge right there?
Yeah, exactly. So they're all level 2 charging, which means that anywhere, like if we looked at North America, for instance, you could go to any one of the local chargers on the street, city charger, whatever it is, you could charge it. You can plug into any one of those chargers. If you have an adapter, you can plug in, which is what Tesla is doing now. Soon you'll be able to charge it at Tesla stations. So any local charging facility, charging station, and and at your home, any like a standard dryer plug, you can have a portable charger that goes in. So any 220 volt single phase or 3-phase, they work. And worst case scenario, if you didn't have that, a 110 outlet will charge it. It's a little bit slower, but they're also available to charge off 110.
And how many pizzas can one vehicle hold?
And by vehicle, he means human.
A lot of pizzas, I think.
Okay, just asking for a friend.
Yeah. And by the way, this is his friend. I've got a question about: are these new vehicles being produced in Arkansas in the new facility? Where are these being produced at?
They are. So they're going to be. That's another great question, but they're being what we call final assembled. There, they come in what's known as a CKD, a complete knockdown form. Mm-hmm. So we jig them, we build them all, and they arrive as, for all intents and purposes, in a big jigsaw puzzle, and we put them all together. And so. So it's very exciting. And you have our new passenger van there.
There we go. Awesome. Wow. Look at that passenger van. And this brings up, I got an email from an Elizabeth Green last week you were on, just asking about Department of Transportation. What was it like getting through regulatory here in the States to get a vehicle on the road? We didn't ask that question before. Was that how much regulatory issues are there involved when you introduce a new vehicle like that?
Well, homologation is either you know it or you don't. And so, fortunately for myself and my brother and I, we've spent our lives in the vehicle maintenance, manufacturing, and certification side of it. So we do have a good understanding of it. But it's an arduous task. If you don't know what you're doing, you could conservatively. You could spend the next 10 years running around. You could
chase your tail on this stuff, right? Because what it seems like here is you guys are able to introduce new vehicles on a pretty regular basis if you go back to last year. And at the same time, right, you're addressing new markets every time you do. And of course, the 800-pound gorilla in the room, other than Mike, is the question that when are we going to see maybe a retail location? Because I could see at my house, using one of these vehicles. I mean, in my area, people drive around golf carts all the time. That's great. I'd rather have a vehicle like that, which seems more safe, it's more efficient. I don't have to gas it up. It's got a charging station that actually lasts more than 15 minutes. You have to reinstall golf cart batteries once a year at a price of about $1,500, so it's pretty scary. Talk about, is there anything in the plans for maybe making some of these vehicles like we see here today?
Yeah, so great question, and if you give me about 10 more days, we'll have a really good announcement for you. So, yeah.
Asked and answered. His name, Phil Oldridge. Thank you, Phil. We'll see you. I can't wait to get you in studio at some point, buddy. Phil of Oldridge, CEO, Envirotech Vehicles Inc. EVTV is their stock symbol. Look at that new passenger van there. Very nice.
That thing's awesome.
EVTVUSA.com. More Big Biz coming up.